Super Monkey Ball. First released in 2001 in Japan as a launch title for the Nintendo Gamecube, and is a game well renowned for its difficulty level. Although it may seem that this game is the first in its series, technically it is not, because a few months before Super Monkey Ball was released, there was an arcade game released first, simply titled Monkey Ball, which pretty much was the same as Super Monkey Ball minus the extra stuff like party games and mini games. But anyway, with that short introduction to the game out of the way, let's get to the first mode. The first mode we have here is the main game, where in this mode it involves guiding a transparent ball containing one of 4 monkeys of your choice, I, Mimi, Baby and Gon across a series of maze-like platforms. In order to complete each stage, the player must reach the goal without falling off or letting the timer reach 0. Falling off or letting the timer reach 0 will cost you a life, and losing all of your lives will cost you a continue. And when you first play the main game, you will have 5 continues. Lose all of them and it's game over. However, as long as you keep playing, you will acquire what is called play points after each session as long as you're in the 1-player mode. Yeah, for some reason you can't gain any play points with friends, which is just stupid. Like, come on man, why not? If this was so much of a problem, what they could have done was divide the total amount of play points earned by the number of players. But aside that, you can use these play points to unlock the free minigames that are available. We'll talk about them later. And once you've unlocked all the minigames, not only will you have different menu music, but every 2,500 play points you acquire after that will grant you an extra continue. Get enough of these play points and you will eventually get unlimited continues, which means one way or another, you're going to at least be able to see all the stages in each difficulty. As for lives, every time you begin a game, you will always start with 2 lives. However, you can increase this amount if you manage to collect 100 bananas. These bananas you can collect are in ones or bunches of 10, and are usually scattered in the stage, with the bunches being a slightly riskier grab, usually. Now I know what you may or may not be thinking. Is there a story for this game? Well, to put it simply, there is no story. Unless you count the Japanese version of the game, which gives you a slight bit of context, stating that Gon, the leader of the gorillas, invades the monkey's home to take all of the bananas, and I, the main protagonist of the game, learns of a paradise called Banana Island, and to get there, he uses a magical spell which creates a ball around him, and heads through the mazes of the game to find the elusive Banana Island. As for if this story is canon anymore, I don't think it is, as in the later games it was never implied that Gon was evil, and none of this information was present in the European or American versions of the game. Speaking of the American and European versions, I did play both, and when playing there are differences, like for example, look here at the text on both versions. For some reason the European version text is smaller than the American version, and for some reason the European version plays at 50 FPS, as opposed to the American version which plays at 60 FPS. Meaning that for me, since I owned the game, I got the short end of the stick for FPS because I had the European version. However, I will admit that I am playing both versions on the Dolphin emulator because it makes it easier for me to record, and for gameplay wise, which means you'll be seeing a combination of both the European and American versions. I would have strictly done the American version because of the fact that it runs at 60 FPS, but unfortunately there are no cheats for the American version to be able to access all of the levels for the showcase, but there is for the European version. I know, blasphemy, he's using cheats, but if I don't, I can't show you all the game because I suck too hard to be able to do it legitly. What? Do you want a complete review or not? Because I know I do. However, for the other modes like party games and minigames, I will be using the American version since I don't need to cheat for them. But before stepping into the game after choosing your monkey, you will be presented with 3 difficulty options: beginner, advanced and expert, with beginner obviously being the easiest and expert being the hardest. For beginner, you'll need to complete 10 stages, advanced 30 stages and expert 50 stages. For the controls, all you do is use the control stick to tilt the stage to move your monkey around. So you don't control your monkey directly, which might feel strange at first, but trust me, you get used to it quickly. And if you care enough, you can use the A button to zoom the minimap on the bottom right hand corner in and out. Now, by the way, I'm breaking these controls down may make the game seem easy, but this game has a massive learning curve, making this the type of game that's easy to pick up and play, but a nightmare to master. As you play through the game at first, you may be taking things nice and slow, but eventually, as you get the hang for the way the game plays, you'll slowly but surely start to be able to pick up the pace a little bit, and perhaps be able to find little shortcuts you can take along the way, having a high risk but high reward payoff. However, not all the difficulty is based off speed and risky strategies. Even taking it slow and steady can be difficult at times, and it can be hard for you to make it through the game without losing all of your continues. Each course in the game is uniquely designed, and each have their own charm to it. Yes, even the first stage of beginner where you can win by just holding forward. Yeah. There are even some stages that have different coloured goal rings, which are green and red goals. Getting to these goals usually involves more risk than getting to the normal blue goal, but if you manage to get to one of them, you will skip a number of stages depending on what stage or what goal you pass through. For example, you could skip only one level, or you could skip 4 levels. I mean, look at this course. It's designed like a race course, with the normal goal being the slowest and the red being the fastest, since the red goal in this one lets you skip the farthest. So for this one, I usually like to go for the green goal since it's not too fast or slow, but allows me to skip at least one stage, and fuck! I went too fast and slid off the edge! There are also bonus stages you can get to, where all you need to do is collect 50 bananas before the time runs out. In beginner, you only get one bonus stage at stage 5, advanced at stages 5, 10 and 20, and expert at stages 10, 20, 30 and 40. And let me tell you, these bananas that you collect from bonus stages can come in clutch, because if you collect all of them in the stage, then that's half a 1-up. And let me tell you, if you're as bad as me, or worse, I say you need all the 1-ups you can get. Now if you want to see all the themes that the game has to offer, then you're gonna have to play on expert, where not only do you get to see a new atmosphere, but you also get a music piece that complements the theme. The themes go as follows: Jungle, which you get from stages 1 to 4, Monkey Mall, which you get from stages 6 to 9, Underwater, which you get from stages 11 to 19, Desert Area, which you get from stages 21 to 29, Arctic, which you get from stages 31 to 39, and finally Storm, which you get from stages 41 to 50. Although technically I would be lying if I said you get all the themes from expert, because for some reason you can only get the Sky High theme from beginner and advanced, and it doesn't appear in expert. I'll also play a snippet of each track you can hear from the game as well. But what if I told you there were 2 additional themes that you can access? Yes, indeed, there are 2 more. But you can only access them if you manage to complete a simple condition in your playthrough. The 2 extra themes you can access are Extra and Master. For Extra, you can access it from any difficulty level, but depending on what difficulty you choose will depend on how many extra stages you can play. If you play on beginner, you will only be able to access 3 extra stages. If you play on advanced, you will be able to access 5 extra stages, and on expert, 10 stages. The theme for the extra stages is simply titled Space. The condition that you'll have to meet to access Extra is as follows. In beginner and advanced mode, you must complete all stages without losing a life, and in expert mode, you must complete all stages without using a continue. If you think that sounds hard, you bet your ass it is. But just wait until I tell you how you can access the master stages. For you to be able to access the master stages, you must be playing on expert. You cannot access the master stages on beginner or advanced. And not only do you have to satisfy the conditions to get to the extra stages, but you must also not use a continue on the extra stages either. But if you do manage to meet the conditions, then welcome to the master stages, the final levels of the game. The theme for the master stages is Banana Island, and in these levels really put your monkey ball skills to the test. So if you ever reach these stages, then be prepared for the worst. I would also play a snippet for the extra and master stages soundtracks. Now, as difficult as I made it sound to get to the extra and master stages on expert, which it is, what if I told you there's a glitch that you can do to immediately get to stage 50 from stage 1 on expert difficulty? This glitch is quite simple. All you need to do is enter the goal at the same time as the timer reaches 0, and then for some bizarre reason, the game thinks you're on stage 50 when in actuality you're still on stage 1. Unfortunately, I was not able to perform this glitch because I suck too much. So what you're seeing here is a video of someone else who did it successfully. And of course, any videos that I use that are not mine will be credited and linked in the description below. Now, assuming you were able to pull off this glitch, all you need to do to get to master is just beat the extra stages without using a continue. Which, to be honest, doing that is a feat in itself. But since I cheated to get here, you may ask, how did I do when trying to get there legitly? Well... Fuck. Like, geez, this is only Expert 7 and I'm getting my ass handed to me. Like, seriously, there are stages later on in the game that are nowhere near as hard as this stage. If you really think I can beat all of Expert without using a continue with stages like these, then you're out of your goddamn mind. There's even a couple of master stages that I played that are even easier than this. And you know what? This stage to me just seems like an easier version of Master Stage 3, which is even more difficult than this stage. And also, in my opinion, the hardest stage in the game. Not only that, if you just plastered the Master Stage textures and music onto this stage and told me this is a Master Stage, I would fully believe you. If there's one thing I don't like about Super Monkey Ball's main game, it's the inconsistent difficulties. But anyway, with that rant out of the way, let's talk about practice and competition mode before we move on to the next set of modes in the game. Practice mode basically allows you to select any stage that you've played and, well, just play it. Practice mode is how I captured the majority of the gameplay, so it's really helpful to have in a review. And as for competition mode, well, I can't exactly show it to you because I have no friends to play it with. But all this mode is the main game, except this time it's a race between 2 to 4 players where you have to see who can get the furthest before dying, and if not, the one who completes the game the fastest. So if you have some friends with you, this game mode can be fun to kill some time with. And that pretty much wraps up the main game, which was arguably the longest mode to talk about. So now let's move on to the next set of modes. The next set of modes we have here is the party games. Yeah, now we're getting into the real multiplayer stuff. If you truly want to do multiplayer in this game, then look no further than the party games. Since all of these party games you can have up to 4 players on at once. The party games include Monkey Race, Monkey Fight, and finally Monkey Target. The first party game we will look at will be Monkey Race. There are 3 modes you can choose in Monkey Race, which are One Course Race, Grand Prix, and Time Attack. The first mode we have here is One Course Race, where in this mode you can choose one of 6 courses in the game and do a single race on them. You can also choose the amount of laps you wish to do. The courses we have in this mode are Jungle Circuit and Aqua Off-Road, which are beginner courses, Frozen Highway and Sky Downtown, which are advanced courses, and finally Speed Desert and Pipe Warp Tunnel, which are expert courses. If you recognise how any of these stages look, then you're right, because all of these courses are based off of themes that you see in the main game. However, unfortunately, none of them have their own separate music piece. They all have the same music. Moving on to the actual gameplay, unlike the main game where you tilt the stage to control your monkey, this time you control them directly with the control stick. I guess it wouldn't have worked well if you had 4 players at once trying to tilt the stage at once to move, and if you're familiar with any racing game like Mario Kart, then you should already be somewhat familiar how to play this. Along the courses that you race on, you will find speed boosts that will momentarily boost your speed, and you will also find item boxes that will randomly spawn in anywhere on the track and give you a random item to use, and to use them you press the A button. These items include the banana peel, which if stepped on will cause you to slip and slide for a bit, the speed star that increases the user's speed for a limited time.
You'll never catch me, Krabs. Not when I shift into maximum overdrive. Hi-ya!
The polygon ball, which turns the ball on the target monkey it hits into a dodecahedron, which causes them to bounce around a lot. However, they don't decrease in speed. The bowling bomber, that when it hits its target, causes them to blow up and go flying, most likely off of the stage, and also stuns you for a little bit if you're lucky enough not to get knocked off by it. And finally, the ice cube, which turns the target into an ice cube and causes them to spin around and constantly lose their speed. Apart from the banana, unfortunately it doesn't look like any of the other offensive items that you can get can be thrown back, you can only throw them forward. The banana peel also has the same problem, except you can't throw them forward, only backwards. Also, you can stack more than one item on top of each other, so you won't have to feel obligated to use an item just to cycle in another, but you can't rearrange the order that you use them in. The next mode we have in Monkey Race is the Grand Prix, where in this mode you play on all of the maps in difficulty order with a simple goal of getting first place by the end. In each race, if you achieve first place, you get 10 points, if you get second place, you get 7 points, if you get third place, you get 3 points, and if you're unlucky enough to get last, then you only get 1 point. There are also a set amount of laps for each course, and you can't change them. The final mode in Monkey Race is Time Attack, where you will have a simple objective, which is to get the fastest time on a track of your choosing. In this mode, just like many other racing games, you will get free boosts that you can use, and free only, so use them wisely when going for the best times. And with that pretty much sums up Monkey Race. So let's move on to the next party game. The next party game we have here is Monkey Fight, where you have a simple objective of beating the shit out of each other in order to knock your opponent off of the stage. Kinda like Super Smash Bros. You use the A button to swing your boxing glove on your ball and use the control stick to roll around. You win by having the most points by the end of the time limit, with more points being awarded when the player currently in the lead is knocked off. Yeah, punch 'em! There are 3 stages you can choose from, which are Midsummer Jungle Square, Cold Ice Octagon, and High Flying UFO Circle, which once again is based off of themes that you see in the main game. You can pick any 3 stages in any order as much as you want, so if you like one stage more particularly than the rest, you can just choose that stage. And if no one has reached the score limit by the time the 3 options have rolled around, then it will just cycle back to the first stage selected. When in game, items will randomly drop on the stage in big boxes which you have to punch open in order to pick up. And these items include the big glove, which increases the size of your glove, the long glove, which increases the distance you can throw your punches to, and finally the vortex glove, where if you hold the A button down, your boxing glove will spin in a 360-degree motion around you. You can also combine these power-ups, so you can have all of them at the same time. And that's it for Monkey Fight, since there are no other modes. So let's now move on to the final party game. The final party game we have here is Monkey Target, which may arguably be the most well-known party mode in Super Monkey Ball in my opinion. And in this mode, you launch your monkey off a ramp and have to land on a platform that's far off in the ocean to earn points without falling off into the water. For this mode, you use the control stick to guide your monkey and use the A button to close your ball mid-flight to stop gliding and start falling. But you can reopen your glider with the A button if you so choose. The only consequence to falling into the water is that you don't get any points from landing on the platform that round, well, because you didn't land on one. You know, speaking of the water, it feels really fucked up that you can land your monkey in the water, and while say in the water, close the ball so that they're now trapped in a ball full of water to drown with no way out. The other way of getting points in Monkey Target is by collecting bananas, with a single being worth 10 points and a bunch being worth 20 points. But do the bananas do anything else other than get you a few extra points, you may ask? Well, I'm glad you did, because I can tell you that yes, they do indeed do something else. For every banana that you collect, you will get an item point that you can spend on the currently flashing item that you see on the top right on your next go, or save them up for a higher level item, and you can get the following items starting from the lowest. No wind for that round, to make your flying easier, a break ball which makes it to where you almost immediately stop movement once you land, which makes it easier to land on smaller specific spots. Double score, which doubles the score on the platform you land on. Magnet ball, which makes it to wherever you land, be it a slope or not, you will firmly stick there, which at times can save you from falling into the water. And finally, triple score, which triples the score of the platform you land on. Every 3 rounds you go through, you will have harder and harder platforms to land on. So the first round will be the easiest platforms, and the third round will be the hardest. And once you've done the third round, it will cycle back to round 1's platforms, and so on. One more feature of Monkey Target is the Wheel of Danger, where you spin it to determine if a hazard will spawn in or if you'll be safe that round. The hazards you can come across are fog, which creates a thick cloud in the sky that's hard to see through, spikes that appear in the air where if you touch them it will be bounced back and lose most of your speed, and bombs which sit on the platforms, and if you get hit by them you'll get sent flying off the platform, most likely into the water to drown. I usually don't put the Wheel of Danger if I'm in one player Monkey Target, but I would highly recommend to do it in multiplayer as it can spice up the game quite a bit and make for an even better time, or even worse depending on what happens. And with that pretty much wraps up Monkey Target, which means that also wraps up the party games. So let's move on to the final set of games. The final set of games we have here are the mini games. And do you remember what I said earlier about the play points that you can spend on the mini games? Well, these are the ones, each costing 2,500 points, which include Monkey Billiards, Monkey Bowling, and Monkey Golf. So why don't we start off with my personal favourite minigame, Monkey Billiards. There are 2 modes that you can play in Monkey Billiards, and these modes are Versus Mode and Tournament Mode. First up is Versus Mode, but before we talk about the Versus Mode, can we just talk about the sweet jazz this game is outputting? Oh, that's some good music! In Versus Mode, you can only have 2 players at a time, so it's you against either the CPU or a friend. And since I don't have any friends, I just went against the CPU. Now if you've played Monkey Billiards before, then you already know what to do. But if you haven't, then allow me to explain. For controls, you use the control stick to align your shot. Alternatively, you can use the D-pad for a more precise aim. You can also use the C-stick to move the camera around the table for a better view, and then tap the A button once you're happy with where you want to shoot, and tap the A button again to shoot with the power that's on the power gauge. You can also use the Y button to adjust the power of your shot while in shoot mode, and the B button to cancel your chosen position if you so choose. To view the ball numbers more clearly on the table, you can press and hold the X button, and you can use the Y button to switch between a normal and overhead view. All of the balls on the table, except your ball of course, have a number on each of them going from 1 to 9, and to pocket a ball, you just simply hit it into the pocket, with the 9 ball being the ultimate target to pop. But you can't just simply hit any ball on the field, you have to hit the lowest number ball first, which means if you want to hit something like the 2 ball, then the 1 ball must already be pocketed. Otherwise, if you hit it, it's classed as a foul, and when a foul occurs, your opponent can place the ball anywhere they like on the field, so it can give them a major advantage. You can also foul if you put yourself into a pocket, and if you manage to pocket a ball, then you are granted an extra shot. And this goes on until you don't pocket another ball or you foul. But even though I said you can't hit any balls out of order, it doesn't stop you from pocketing other balls that you hit from your target ball, which means with a well placed shot, you can immediately win the game by hitting the 9 ball with another or by bouncing off the target ball. Bullshit! What a bunch of fucking bullshit! Moving on to tournament mode, where in this mode you take on 4 CPUs in a sudden death tournament, which means there's no 2-player mode, and your objective is to just simply beat them all, and if you lose a match, then it's back to the beginning. The rules of the game itself haven't changed, so you don't have to worry about that. Oh come on, you two with this bullshit, you know, no, fuck this, no, I'm moving on from tournament mode, we're going to the next mode, fuck tournament mode, I can't be asked to complete it, this bullshit keeps happening every single goddamn time. If you want to play Monkey Billiards, just play it with friends, never play with the CPU, they're just bullshit. The next minigame we have here is Monkey Bowling. And before I start, I just want to deeply apologise about the frames you're about to see of Monkey Bowling, because for whatever reason, the Dolphin emulator just doesn't like Monkey Bowling. But luckily, there isn't too much to talk about, so just bear with me, your suffering will end swiftly. There are 2 modes that you can play in Monkey Bowling, which are Standard Mode and Challenge Mode. Standard Mode is nothing special. If you've played bowling in real life or seen it, then you already know how this goes. But basically, the aim of the game is to get the highest score possible, and you want to be aiming for strikes, which are knocking all of the pins down in one go, because strikes give you the most points. For controls, you use the control stick to move yourself left and right, and then use the A button once you are happy with where you are to go into a throw mode. Once you're in the throwing mode, you can press the B button to cancel your position if you so choose, and you can use the A button to throw. Be sure to time your A button press so that you can aim your throw just right. Once you are thrown, your ball will roll slowly for a couple of seconds, and you can use this time to give your ball some spin with the L and R bumpers if you so choose, but just be wary that having too much or too little spin can make you go flying off of the edge. You can also use the X button to bring up your total scorecard. Now that I've explained standard mode and the controls, let's move on to the next mode in Monkey Bowling, which is challenge mode. And in this mode, you're given 10 pin arrangements to choose from, and essentially your objective is to clear all the patterns. You get 12 shots to clear all the patterns, which means if you want to clear all of them, you can only mess up 2 times, which is a bit fucked up in my opinion because of how inconsistent your shots can be and how the pins fall down. If you even miss 1 pin on a pattern, then you fail it, and the pattern resets if you do, which means you must do it in 1 shot. And with that pretty much sums up Monkey Bowling, which means it's time to move on to the final minigame, which is also the final game in this video. The final minigame we have is Monkey Golf, and the 2 modes you can play in Monkey Golf are Stroke Play and Match Play, and the first mode we will look at will be Stroke Play. Just like Monkey Bowling, if you've played golf in real life or seen it, then you already know how this goes down. Basically, you just need to put your ball into the hole with the least amount of shots possible, with a hole-in-one being the best that you can get. If you fall off the map, that's an OB or out of bounds, and when this happens, your number of shots is increased by 1, and if you can't make it into the hole by the time 9 shots have gone by, then you automatically give up the hole. You can play the full 18 holes, or you can play the in or out modes, with out making you play the first 9 holes and in making you play the last 9 holes. For controls, you use the control stick to align where you want to shoot, and use the B button to change the power of your shot. You can also use the X button or the C stick to go into viewing mode, so you can see how far you are away from the hole. Once you are happy with where you want to shoot, you can press the A button to go into shooting mode, and press the A button again to set your shot with the gauge on the screen. You can also press the B button while in shooting mode to cancel your chosen position if you so wish. Since I have basically explained everything for Stroke Play, let's move on to the final mode of Monkey Golf and the final mode of the video, which is Match Play. Since this is a 2-player mode, what you're seeing here is me playing as both the players, so I can suck twice as hard. What Match Play is 2 players go up against each other in a 1v1 to see who can get the ball into the hole the lowest amount of shots. If a player gets in the hole with a lower amount of shots, then they win that hole, and the winner is determined when the player's lead is so great that the losing player cannot catch up. And just like stroke play, you can choose to do all 18 holes or do the in and out modes. And with that brings us to the end of the review. I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, then let me know, and feel free to share any information that I might have missed in the comments below. I've never done this before, so let me know what I can improve on. Oh, and I'm supposed to give this a rating since I'm doing this for a college assignment as well. Yeah, believe it or not, this whole review was for a college assignment, but I chose the game, so I had fun with it. So to my teacher who'll be watching this, I hope this was satisfactory for you. Anyway, I give Super Monkey Ball a 9 out of 10. Absolutely love this childhood game of mine and highly recommend to people who have not tried it yet.